Hello, 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 hello. Good evening, good evening. Good evening, everybody in the house. Okay, okay. Good evening, everybody in the house. Chalo, let's attack the final day of our 3-week program, everybody. Nice, nice. Good evening, good evening. Raj, Sriraj, Pooja, Amit, Rohit, Kavita, Akash. Good evening, all. Chalo, let me quick. Okay, we are already streaming this on YouTube, and parallelly, okay, we will be sharing this into our internal WhatsApp groups as well. Chalo, let's get on the final Friday. Doom dhadaka karenge. Okay. Shailendra, Mantu. Hey, Mantu, hi. Nice, eh? Mantu is enjoying life. Huh? Beautiful smile. Good, 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 good. Okay. We are live 24th March, 9 p.m. Let's go. Let's get it rolling. Okay, let me share it internally. It's 9:00 p.m. Here we go. Okay. So nice to see you guys in the time. And it's been a quick journey. We have passed 3 weeks. Every single day, a new topic, interesting topic. We did a lot of things practical. But like we have been speaking right from the day one of the program, knowing is just the step one. Okay, guys, everything is available on internet. And with these AI systems, chat GPTs and all, you don't need an expert at all for anything. All the Q&As can be just available at just a question you ask to chat GPT, you get all the answers. And further, these AI tools will evolve. So you need to understand knowledge is step one. It is just the potential power. Don't feel anything proud if you know these tools, techniques, whatever we are discussing about, because it's basic. Okay, everybody has that. That's where you need to understand 7+ billion people on the planet, and like still technology and whatever it has reached, a lot of people are having connectivity to internet and have phones in their hand, and they can get all this information if they want. So if you want to stand different from this crowd, so knowing is only the step number one. The actual game is, can you implement it, and then can you implement it long enough to make it a habit. So guys, remember that. So whatever we have discussed as part of this career topics also since the past 3 days, job hunting and the techniques of like 32 core principles of IT projects, it is just knowledge again. And maybe many people in IT after let's say 5-6 years might know all these things. But those who really practice it, apply it, and make it a day-to-day lifestyle, those people will get actual results in the industry because of this. Okay, the mindset which we spoke about, 10 to 7 breaking mindset, work-life balance plus preparation for a successful work, successful life balance. Okay, daily reading, daily knowledge upgrade. Okay, becoming an A player. All these foundation principles, all throughout your life, you work only for yourself. All these systems you have to live, take actions, and then let it run. Let it run, let it become a habit, personality evolution, and it is going to take time. Magic does not happen in a moment. So just be aware. I want to give you the transparent picture of things. It's just knowledge. It's just the step one. Okay. But the beautiful part, what we did was in the beginning 2 weeks, where we were not just sharing the knowledge, we were taking practical actions. Okay, and I'm trying to take this program, 3-week program, into that system where we continuously keep taking actions. And in the month of April, 3rd of April onwards, another 3-week program will start. There I am again going to recustomize this. Okay, how do we make it more result oriented and problem solving system? So I'm right now working on that. Okay, April ko kaise kare? And I'm thinking every Monday should be weekly planning. Every Friday should be weekly review. Every day we should plan for the next day, review the previous day. And that should become an everyday habit. Then in the 3 weeks, 2 weeks, we should do masterminding, where you will solve your problems with other people. Okay. And then maybe then only 3 days we get per week where we will discuss these topics. So by that way, actual lifestyle change will also happen. Why? Because I know that is going to work. Just knowing the techniques, after 1 month, you will be going back to your old life. And I know that that's what is a human being. So I just want you to change, want you to upgrade. And that's what I'm trying to just open up your mind. Whatever we did in the past 21 days, it is the step number one towards an amazing future. And that is where I want all of you to again join from 3rd April onwards, because we are going to convert it into a habit. Run it for another 1 month. You know, what is required in life, guys? Once you upgrade for one time, this new track of life, the lifestyle change, habit change, behavior change, you will be able to enjoy it all throughout your lifetime. कितना होता है guys? देखो, whether it's today or whether it's 80 years from now, always 24 hours are going to be there. If you know how to use these 24 hours, 7 days a week properly, life mystery is sorted. There is nothing else to be mastered, right? And the sooner you start this, an amazing life will be created. Okay, this is what we are trying to do. And join in 3rd April, free chal raha hai. Apply, get maximum benefit because of this. Okay, so chalo, all said and done. And today we got only 2 screens. So Balram is there. Hi Balram, nice to see you. Okay, and Mantu is there. Hopefully all the guys behind the screen, you guys are not sleeping. We spoke about our body postures. जावेद उठ के बैठा भाई, अभी सो रहा था ये बंदा. So Javed is awake, Shravan is awake, Shailendra is in. Very good, very good. Okay, and Sriraj, nice. Okay, guys. So today is the final day. Okay, the last day of the program. There are still topics to be spoken. Okay, there are still things to be discussed. But the point is, it will be an never-ending approach. You will always find something valuable. That's where we have been doing programs since past 2 years. There is always value to be shared. But again, make your journey enjoyable. This is where we are focusing. कि सब कुछ करके pressure cooker नहीं बनाएंगे. We will not blast this mind out. So today is going to be a refreshing session. Okay. So nothing like life में ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा. We will not try to like, अरे यार क्या मावन हो गई ये life. We will not get to that level. We will try to do a refreshing session. Okay. A mindset changeover, a thought process changeover, and just a swinging through this life. Okay, with a different dimension of thought process. And for doing that, so I realized this one very beautiful thing. This example was about Henry Ford. Okay, so I think in some of the book or somewhere the example was given. Okay, Henry Ford became really very successful and made like a lot of, he changed the motor industry like anything, the revolutionary person. Okay, and वहाँ पे, like whenever somebody becomes successful, there are other people who are ready to pull him back. राइट तो क्या किए, हेनरी फोर्ड को उठा के कोर्ट में लेके चले गए. बोले कि यू डोंट हैव एनी एजुकेशन, यू डोंट हैव एनी नॉलेज, एंड हाउ कैन यू डू ऑल दीज थिंग्स. एंड उसके ऊपर बहुत लाइक कोर्ट कचेरी में उसको फंसा दिए थे. लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर्स, अननेसेसरी ट्राइंग टू पुल हिम. ओके, बिकॉज ही वाज गेटिंग सक्सेसफुल. So Henry Ford said this very beautiful thing. Okay, yes, what is required? Yes, I need to have knowledge of all those things, but it is not required that I gain that knowledge. He said, on my desk I have buttons, and whenever I press a button, a specialist comes of that field and gives me the answers that I want. So he said, I've created my 10-20 people who are specialists in specific area, and whenever I want some information, I just press the button, call them, and get that knowledge. By that way, Henry Ford's mind stays free to focus on his specialty. That's what, it's not required that one person does everything in life. It's an amazing example. Okay, the power of people, the power of this team. Right now, there are 101 people. Everybody will have their own expertise. And that is where we are trying to do this masterminding, to utilize one another's potential, and so that everybody succeeds. And like that, guys, today I'm calling another guest. Okay, so I have my own areas, own thought process, own behaviors, and wo sab to denge. But I'm calling one other expert, okay, who is very dominant in his own field in terms of philosophy, thought process, mindset, and he has applied all those principles throughout his life. And currently, he's like engineering manager working in the IT industry. Okay, so gain a lot of professional growth. And because of the core few things, essential basics and foundations, how did he accomplish this corporate success? It was an honor to really meet him and invite him here. And today he's going to share his perspective of the core mindset which he got and the activities which he has applied throughout this journey for getting a massive career progress. Okay? So he calls himself a philosopher, a teacher, a coach, mentor, takes one-on-one, does a lot of assistance to people. So again, there are people who will be at service, wanting to help. And because of such people, the world will be a beautiful place. Okay, me and myself will anyways not work. So we need givers. And I know that most of you in this call also, once you start taking some ground and accomplishing something in your careers and life, I personally know that you will also care and you will also start giving back. Okay. So it's going to be an amazing journey. So right now we already have him in. Okay. His name is Chetan Narang. Okay. So let me make him like a co-host. Okay. Yeah, Chetan, could you please turn on your video? Chetan is here. Here is Chetan.
Hey,
Okay.
Tausif. Hey, guys. I hope I'm audible and
Yes,
visible.
yes, Chetan, you're audible. Okay.
Awesome.
So एक और बार मैं तालियों के साथ स्वागत करना चाहूंगा. Okay. So let's invite Mr. Chetan Narang here in the house. Engineering manager, has spent a lot of time in the IT industry, did a lot of experiments, understood psychology of human beings, is established in philosophies, and I think today we are lucky enough to have him here to share his fundas and the core foundation of success in execution of personal life, professional life. Okay? So chalo Chetan, the group is all ready to invite you and kuch tod phod karte hain. Let's go in. Yeah, let's
Thank you
go.
so much, Tausif. Thank you so much for that introduction, man. I really appreciate that. And I think overall, yeah, when you were mentioning about giving back, right? That is something I think that we recently connected on LinkedIn, but this is something that I feel we resonate on that level because even seeing you in this session for the first time, I haven't consumed much of your content yet, but it appears to me that you are also one of those people who loves giving back, who loves, let's say, service, right? And that's one thing we definitely resonate on. And yeah, if if that is not the core of my work, I don't know what is really. So yeah.
ठीक है तो चलो it's time to give then back. तो थोड़ा अपने बंदों को भी दे देते हैं. So I think he's already doing wonderful work with regular podcast and in his community. I thought it would be a wonderful opportunity for each one of us also to gain some more insights on things. Okay.
Yeah.
So Chetan, yes, could you give a short intro about yourself and then we can start digging down more into different areas?
Sure, Tausif. So what I did was I actually prepared, I pulled together a slide together so that I would have some anchors when we are going through this. So let me just quickly share my screen as well, and we'll start from there. Here, I hope my screen's visible.
Yes, visible.
Yeah. Hi. So I call my podcast, my YouTube channel, and all of my work under the banner of the Unlearning Playground. And this is what I do apart from my day job. So talking about my day job, I have close to 9 years of experience in the software engineering industry. I'm currently working, as Tausif already mentioned, as an engineering manager at a startup in Bangalore. But that is my day job. More than anything else, I call myself, like again, Tausif mentioned before, a teacher, a life coach, a philosopher. And how that is manifesting right now is in the form of the Unlearning Playground podcast, the YouTube channel, the one-on-one sessions that I take with people, which is mostly centered around life coaching. So that is what I do currently. And I wanted to come into this session and talk a little bit more about the Unlearning Playground specifically and what are the core pillars of what I do, and then how we can apply that with regards to what you guys talk about here. I think our general focus in this session is around applying things and implementing things for career growth and career success. And that is what we'll be talking about here as well, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So if I delve into it, see, the three core pillars of the work that I do at the Unlearning Playground is, I would say that all of that does boil down to personal and professional development, but that is mostly all of philosophy anyway. But let's talk about a little bit more about the three core pillars. So the first that I would say is self-awareness. This is something which I feel is lacking in a lot of adults these days. Of course, you would not expect children to know much about themselves, but in the busy lives that we lead these days, it gets very hard for people to take a step back and just think about their own thinking. think about how their own minds are working, think about how they're actually leading themselves to different decisions which they could have done better, right? Which is where I believe self awareness is definitely one aspect that should be taken care of by every single adult. So when I talk about self awareness, I talk about all the different cognitive biases and logical fallacies that our minds function under. And they're very important. They're so subtle that you might miss them out very easily, but they play a very key role in how you take decisions, both in your personal life and also in your professional lives. So, this is one core thing that I want to talk about even today. Then, like I say, how to think about your own thinking. You know, this is called metacognition in technical terms, but let's not go there. Very simply put, it's just understand how you are thinking, what you are thinking, right? And that's important sometimes because life goes on at a very fast pace sometimes, and we do not even get to take a step back and realize, oh, I could have done this differently. Oh, only if I was aware of my own thoughts, I maybe could have taken a better decision or taken no decision at all, right? Sometimes that's important too. So yeah, that's where self-awareness comes in, and I personally love to call it growing up 101. I think this is something that every adult should do at some stage in their lives. Of course, that stage, we enter that at different points, but yeah, this is growing up 101 for me. So this is one of the core pillars of my work and what we'll talk about today as well. And I've mentioned this little code, which I think I expound this on every single one-on-one session that I take, that growth lies on the other side of discomfort. You know, all of these things, they might be slightly uncomfortable because, let's just say, to realize that you were wrong somewhere, it's not comfortable for anyone, right? For me, for you, for anyone for that matter. Once you get to realize that, oh, I was wrong about this and I had acted out on something that I was wrong on, it's an uncomfortable process. But growth lies on the other side of this discomfort, because the step number one to solving a problem is realizing there is one, right? So if you realize that you were wrong somewhere, you can now correct it. And that's where growth lies. So this is self-awareness.
Okay, guys, they go just that's a key important thing. Okay, the first one, self-awareness. Like life just runs by faster, 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 and you need to take a pause to realize ki bhai, what kind of a person you are, how do you think, how do you behave, how do you respond to life, and uske liye you have to take a pause and really understand that ki bhai, why I get angry, why do I respond in a panic situation, why is there fear coming in my life, why am I making decisions which is actually going against me, and I'm still not realizing ki why still I do that decision.
Yeah.
So if you really take a pause in your life to reflect कि भाई who you are and what's going wrong with you, फिर बहुत mind चलने लगेगा. You will really find a lot of deeper insights will start opening, and that I guess will even make you discomfortable. कि sometimes you feel like doing a lot in this life, but you end up lazily spending 2 hours on social media and like करने का मन नहीं कर रहा. I don't feel like doing anything. Like you know that you should do a lot of things, but you still waste your time. And once you realize ki bhai, I am actually fighting myself back, so that is what is actually discomfort. Ki bhai, there is something wrong in me, but wo samajhna bhi padega, otherwise you will just blame it on the rest. So the first step is be aware that you could be the source of all your own troubles or uncertainties. And once you realize that, it might make you discomfortable, but that's where you have to overcome it. So I think the first point is touch to the point. सबको
Yeah.
we have to self analyze ourselves कि why we are who we are, and
Yeah.
let it be as discomfortable as possible. Okay, so that's the
Yeah.
first key. Very nice learning. Okay, chalo chalo.
Yeah. For my next pillar, I'll talk about everyday life advice. Now, this is something that the words that I use to put this forward is how to be better at the game of life. And again, this is something we can delve into this in a completely dedicated session, because just this first question, what really is better? You can just have a very good dialogue over what really is better, because it's all relative anyway. What could be better for me might not be better for you. What could be right for me could be wrong for you. But at the end of the day, if we are adults sitting together, if we are willing to let go of our own ego, if we are willing to let go of the attachments we hold to different biases and different opinions that we hold, we can reach logical conclusions. We can reach statuses where we can say that, yes, this is objectively the better way to go about life, right? This is what I try to convey via everyday life advice on my podcast and also on my YouTube channel. And this is again centered around, if we talk about how this applies to our professional lives, I believe once we start to understand ourselves, we can actually understand other people better. And that makes us better at dealing with people. That improves our people skills, like I call it here. And believe it or not, at some point in your career, you will have to deal with people much more than you deal with, let's say, systems, right? As an engineer, you might be able to get away with just dealing with your own piece of code, just dealing with your own piece of software. But even there, you have to deal with your manager. You have to deal with maybe your manager's manager at some point. But once you take up a managerial position, once you take up a position which involves dealing with a lot more people, it always helps to be better at people skills. It always helps to understand people better and to know how to deal with people better. This is kind of the core pillar where I talk about everyday life advice in my podcast.
And
Yeah.
the second point is really interesting here.
Hmm.
Letting go and unlearning the attachment to your own ego.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Let's repeat it once more,
Hmm.
everyone. Letting go and unlearning the attachment to our own ego. Okay, it's like kind of detaching yourself with who you are. I think
Hmm.
this is what Sadhguru Wala meditation we do in the morning. I am not this body, I am not even this mind. Okay, so that's the art of letting go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And like maybe you are pissed off internally, frustrated internally, but you need to try to detach yourself from all those emotions of life. This is where we said ki bhai, meditation, mindfulness should be a part of your life. And that's where like thoda sa let things go. It's not required to build your some kind of identity where there is hate and pain in your life. The more you let loose, the more you will feel lighter in your heart. And that's where I think it's all coming. Ki thoda sa chhod do. It's okay,
Yes.
things
Yes.
will take care of itself. Don't pile up so much and don't start feeling like reasons for our own pain inside.
Yeah.
थोड़ा जाने देते हैं.
Yeah.
And this reminds me of one very nice thing. I was reading some book on meditation, okay, and that guy said ki every night when I go to bed, so before sleeping for 5 minutes, I just try to keep my eyes closed and exhale all my detachments from the world.
Hmm.
Okay, it's like my whole day, whatever pain I might have caused to anybody, in my deep down heart, I just ask for forgiveness for that. I pray for those people, and I wish ki I never make mistakes again, and just let go everything. And he
Hmm.
says कि when I let down that burden, I get such a peaceful sleep at night. Okay,
Yeah.
and I think guys थोड़ा बहुत ज़्यादा life में pressure लेके job नहीं लग रहा ये नहीं, guys everything will happen. Nothing will happen like while you are sleeping. उसमें तो कुछ हो नहीं जाएगा miracle, right? So I think just let it go. कि I did my best today, and don't take that burden while you are sleeping and pressure when you wake up in the morning. Just let it go. Fine, things will happen. And I think that's what is a very deeper concept of living here. ठीक है?
Yeah.
तो आईटी के अंदर ऐसे ऐसे भी लाइक मैनेजर्स बैठे हैं जो सोचते हैं इस डीपर लेवल तक का. ओके. Pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chetan.
This actually reminds me, Tausif, there's this one quote by this guy Mark Twain, and he said something like, "I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened." I mean,
Nice, nice.
it's very true, right? I mean, we can worry about dozens of things all through our life, but we know ourselves that a lot of them are imaginative problem, are all imaginary, and because we keep ourselves attached to it, like I mentioned here, unless we unlearn the attachment to that, it forms a very core part of our own ego, our own identity, and then somehow this might seem a little tangential, but it happens that we get so attached to being uncomfortable that now letting go of that part of us scares us. It becomes a part of our identity, and now even though it's uncomfortable, we know that this is what it is, and we kind of just say ठीक है, जैसे चल रहा है चलने दो, right? Even though you're uncomfortable, you keep on with the same pace, right, with the same things that are going on in your life. And that is where letting go, unlearning, letting go of all of that burden, that's a very good word that you've used, because it kind of becomes a burden at the end of the day, right? Yeah.
ओके. और ये क्या आपने स्वामी विवेकानंद जी क्या बोल रहे हैं यहाँ पे?
स्वामी विवेकानंद का एक कोट This is something that defined a lot of transformation that happened for me, because like I said, once you start understanding yourself, you start to understand others. Basically what he's saying here is the difference between a man and man is one of degree and not of kind. So let's say there are 1,000 different emotions that a human being can express, right? Just trying to make you understand that. Let's say there are 1,000 different emotions that a person can express. In every single human being, there is every single of those emotions, right? It's just a matter of degree. It's a matter of how much a single emotion, how much a single kind of a thought is expressed out in a single person, right? So the difference between even someone who's a criminal versus someone who's a saint is one of degree, right? The saint chose to act on these things, or was in an environment that was more conducive to these ideas and these emotions and these thoughts, and therefore the degree of resonance of those thoughts increased in that person versus in a criminal, right? So the difference between all humanity, all of people, is one of degree and not of kind, right? I think for me, this quote kind of defines why I do this, because I understand even if someone is not able to understand all of this right now, there is just a matter of degree. And if I can kind of push that person's degree in one way or the other, I have done my job, right?
I would like to add one thing to this, okay, so that
Mm.
our members also, ek do cheez. Okay, देखो guys, a few years ago, I got this realization कि every human being is one and the same. Okay, you might watch it, let's say television dekh rahe ho, and you might see some superstars there doing some very extraordinary work. Let's say movie stars le lo, or like big billionaires of the world, or you might see a person on the roadside just sleeping, drinking, and all. We need to understand that universe and the nature has given us everyone the same mechanism, a very smart brain and a very great body. Sabko same mila hai. Okay, and I got that awareness few years ago ki bhai, there is no difference between any of us. It's all about how you are using your mind. And I think after listening to this quote ki bhai, everybody has the same emotions, same behaviors. So right now you are just like me, I am just like you, but which thoughts and which emotions I expand in my life, that defines me, versus which thoughts and emotions you express in your life, that defines you. So if you are scared, worried, panic, it's because you're allowing those emotions to develop inside you. That's not really you, but you're allowing those emotions to grow. If you can suppress that, and if you can grow your confidence, and like, I am capable, I am bold, I am brave, I am amazing, I can do marvelous results in my life. If you change that emotional quotient, you will just be better than many other people. So I think थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे बहुत deeper बातें चल रही है. You have to really dig down deeper inside you. कि भाई, all the capability, all the potential is there, but which thoughts or emotions you are allowing to grow. And I think if we can make a conscious decision there, ki let it not happen random, but get control and choose what kind of person we want to be, I think that degree of difference will make us very unique in the planet.
Yeah.
So डरना नहीं है, we have to really play around with who we are actually. Okay.
You know,
Pretty nice.
I'm not sure if any of you guys are Harry Potter fans here, but I recently did a video where I was talking about something that Dumbledore says in the Harry Potter movie. Okay.
Harry Potter का है. Nice.
Yeah. So what?
Wingardium Leviosa.
Okay, so Tausif also knows a bit, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So see, Harry Potter is our protagonist in those movies, right? He's the positive guy, and the exact opposite, the negative guy, is Voldemort. And now in one of those movies, what happens is Harry, at the end of the movie, he realizes that he experienced the same hatred and the same anger that he was pissed off at Voldemort for, right? He experienced the same emotions that he used to only associate with Voldemort, and that was really troubling him. So he goes up to Dumbledore and he expresses this ki, I saw in myself what I hate in Voldemort. And Voldemort and Dumbledore very calmly replied back saying, in our life it is our choices that define who we are, not our abilities. And that's it, right? I mean, you can, not everyone, but almost a lot of us can have the potential to, let's say, make $1 million, right? But it matters more about how you do it. It matters more how you choose to do it, or what you choose to do with those $1 million, right? That defines who you are, right? Having $1 million, having $1 billion, it's not a bad or a good thing. But what you choose to do with it, how you choose to make those million or $1 billion, that matters a lot more, right? So in your life, your choices matter much more than what your abilities or what your talents are,
That
right?
is great actually. You can apply that to your day-to-day life. अभी मन तो बोलेगा भाई million billion dollars तो I don't have it, but you have 24 hours a day, and it's your choice how to use that time. And I have 24 hours. It's my choice how to use my thing. Now, talent does not matter. Now, I could have spent 5 hours today in really something valuable, and somebody else just wasted. It's matter of choice. Okay? And Rock the Dwayne Johnson, he said कि भाई, others might be maybe richer than me, or they might make a lot of things in their life, but nobody can ever say somebody worked as hard as Rock the Dwayne Johnson. So like, your time is yours, right? So work as hard as you can, and nobody can beat you in that. Talent nahi karega, kuch nahi karega if you're hard working. Okay, smartness and hardness both काम आएगी दबा के. Nice. Okay. Chetan will be like, अरे यार बीच में किधर फंडे चल रहे हैं ये. But I'm just trying to like, yeah, balance the mood a bit.
This is what it is, Tausif. I mean, for me, what I talk about can go deep at times, but at the end of the day, I want it to be practical, and I want it to be pragmatic, and I want it to be implementable in our everyday lives.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Okay. So this is the third pillar.
This is the third pillar. This is actually the root, but I talk about it in terms of 1/3 of what I do. This is philosophy and spirituality. And what I talk about in this pillar is easy to understand and practical answers to those deep philosophical questions all of us have, but a lot of times they kind of go underneath our usual everyday lives, क्योंकि इतना सब कुछ है करने में, there's so much to do in our lives कि we kind of suppress those basic philosophical questions that all of us get, right? And they're always related to God, self, our existence, our purpose in life, etc. And I think, see, there comes a time in everyone's life where maybe you are sorted on, I don't know if you have ever talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs in this forum, but it's like, not going too technical, but there's a hierarchy of needs that every human being has, right? A very basic could be roti kapda makan, right? Just getting your basic necessities sorted out, right? That unless you have done all of that, this whatever we are talking about will not make any sense to you, because I could go on talking about God and philosophy and everything, but if you're not able to manage 3 square meals a day, you'll say bhai pehle khana khila de, uske baad dekhte hain, right? Of course it matters more to be sorted in the basic fundamental necessities and needs of your life, but after that there comes a point in our lives where we crave for more, we need more, we want to understand more, right? Which is where all of these questions come to the surface. And because we are more used to, doing things in a certain way, these questions kind of take a backseat. And especially aajkal, it's just so fast paced these days, all of our lives, ki we want to only keep doing what we are doing, and we want to be laser focused on our careers and our jobs and our work, etc., which is all good, right? But at the end of the day, there will come a time when you'll realize that this is not really the only thing that will satisfy me, right? Which is where you have to dig deeper into life, into, I call it philosophy and spirituality. You can have some other words for it, but maybe just trying to understand more about life, right? And this is one quote that kind of defines spirituality for me. A lot of people think about spirituality in terms of something voodoo, but I understand spirituality by this: all spirituality is the discipline to eliminate the unnecessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Unwanted चीजों को निकालो. Okay, fine.
So now, if we talk about what I wanted to talk about here in this session,
Chetan, can we take a section now ki how these few concepts now professional growth ke related, because I think we have 40 minutes something, so वो एक थोड़ा सा let's spend some nice time on that now, फिर we'll continue back.
Yeah. So see, like I said previously, when we talk about self-awareness, when we talk about understanding how our own minds work, it helps to understand everything better. So even when you are in a career, even when you're doing a job, when you're managing people, when you are dealing with different kinds of people, it helps to understand how they would be seeing things, how you can, let's say, frame things better for them to understand better, things of that nature, right? So all of that falls into the category of being more self-aware and letting it implement into improving your own people skills, right? Because like I said before, once you understand yourself, you start to understand other people better, and that is what helps you deal with people better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about things in terms of what they would understand better, right? In a manner of speaking. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what I was going to talk about here is um, a very basic funda, which is something very obvious but we kind of miss out. So we see the world as we are, not as the world is, right? It's again, what I mean here is there is a subjective reality to life and there is an objective reality to life. We all are working under our own, let's say, from our own lenses we view the world, right? That is our subjective reality, but unless we realize that, we kind of also consider it to be true for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that limits us. So जैसे I talk about a lot about cognitive biases, right? तो उसी sense में there are three levels at which these biases function. So first example being our day-to-day moods. तो let's say you have a favorite TV show, जैसे मैंने यहाँ पे example दिया Friends का, right? If you are not in a good mood right now, the same episode of Friends that would have made you laugh earlier would not even expand a single smile from you. It's not about the episode, it's about you, right? It's about how you are in this moment. And that happens in so many different areas. I mean, if I like a particular dish a lot, if I'm not in a good mood, that dish, the same dish will not taste as good as it would have if only I was in a better mood, right? But we seldom understand that. And this happens in our day-to-day life, even in our offices, right? In a meeting where a manager said something, it might trigger you, but it could have happened that it was not really what the manager was saying, it was how you were interpreting it, right? And it helps to understand that. It helps to understand that because you can then calm yourself down and realize that, okay, this might not be a good time to react to whatever other people are saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something I've found personally lacking in a lot of people, that just if you had this realization that you are not in a good space right now and maybe take a step back, you would have sorted a lot of your problems out. But because we don't realize it, we kind of get more deeper into it, because it happens, right? When you're triggered, when you're angered, this happens in personal lives and also in professional lives. Of course, हमने personal lives में सबने देखा होगा. If you are triggered by anyone, you want to go completely deep into it and you want to sort that out right now. And all of us adults would understand that is actually the worst time to sort out any issues, when you're angry, right? When you're triggered by the situation. And this happens day to day in our offices as well, right? So this is where I think it helps to understand that this, again, this could be happening with someone you're dealing with right now, right? You might not be able to make them realize that, but you can actually understand at least that this is what is happening and the situation is not going to calm itself down right now, so maybe I need to take a step back, right?
And then this is where we are doing this daily activity, right? Gratitude practice. So it
Mm-hmm.
is for intentionally changing our focus.
Mm.
So rather than just letting our mood and our vision of the life stay as it is, we are actively trying to change our perspective so that we can look at the world from a better perspective. Because
Yeah.
we see the world as we are. So we are even trying to change that so that we don't look at it negatively with this simple daily gratitude practice that we are doing. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good one because others might be suffering through this pain right now, and you are judging it from your shoes. वो बंदे की पूरी life की धई हो गई है. So that really gives more connection to understand one another rather than
Yes.
blasting out, getting angry, getting frustrated. I think a lot deeper is happening to people's lives, so which we have to give some space. Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, Chetan,
Mm.
nice.
And again, like I talked about, one level that I talk about is in terms of our day-to-day being. Then the other levels where our biases function, one that you just mentioned in fact, is our conditioning in some sense. All
Mm-hmm,
of your past experiences, the way you have gone through life, the way you have seen life. So the example that I use here is, let's say you are two siblings, and for whatever reason, you had to wrestle for your parents' love a lot more than the other one, right? If that happens with you, you might go through life thinking that everything is supposed to be wrestled away, right? Everything is supposed to be a game of one upping the other person, while the other person, the other one, might have had an easier life, and उसके तरीके से ऐसा हो सकता है कि he is thinking of life as just a game, just a means of expressing his deepest emotions. इतनी कोई fight है ही नहीं life में, right? So two very different worldviews, both of them right in their own sense, but both of them also limited, right? And they stay limited until they understand that there is another way to look at life, right? It's just a matter of conditioning. And once you realize that, like we've mentioned throughout this call, it is a matter of choice now. So no matter what your previous experiences were, today is March 24, 2023. Whatever brought you here, brought you here. But whatever goes on after this is your own karma, is what you choose to do, right? And that is what matters. That is what matters in our personal lives, our professional lives, in everything that we do, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. So if I talk about a few biases, this is, I've mentioned just a few here, and I think all of these are, I'll in fact share these slides with you, Tosi, if you can share it
Sure.
along in your WhatsApp group as well.
Mhm.
So all of these episodes, all of these different biases, there are fascinating examples about how they come around in our day-to-day lives, personally, also professionally, right? जैसे मुझे एक चीज याद आ रही है कि this is the framing effect. I'll just pick a random one. The framing effect is basically, it matters more how a statement is framed than what the statement really is, right? So I'll give a very quick example. Let's say you're choosing a college. आपको college choose करना है and you're giving two brochures. दो brochures मिले colleges के. एक पे लिखा है, if you enter this college and you do this degree, there's a 75% chance that you will not have a job at the end, right? And so there's a 75% chance of failure, 25% chance of success. यहाँ पे ऐसा लिखा है. Brochure 2 says at the end of this course, there's a 25% chance that you'll get a job, right? अब दोनों ने चीजें सेम लिखी हैं, but just because this one has framed it in the form of success versus this one has framed it in the form of failure, we are more likely to pick this one, right? And this happens with all of us. जिस तरीके से चीजें फ्रेम की जाती हैं, that matters a lot to us, क्योंकि we are all suckers for good stories, right? तो उसी तरीके से this can happen in your day to day life, in your professional life as well, right? जिस तरीके से आपको आई डोंट नो, जिस तरीके से आपको रिक्वायरमेंट्स दी जाए, अगर एक मैनेजर को आपको कन्विंस करना है कि दिस इज व्हाट यू हैव टू डू, ही माइट मेक इट साउंड अ लॉट मोर आई डोंट नो फ्रूटी देन इट रियली इज, राइट? And again, I don't know if this will straight away apply in whatever you do, but yeah, it helps to understand that this is what happens. And again, you can also use it to your own benefit, right? You can also use it to actually, let's say something could be really complicated and you can make it seem a little less complicated, a little more simplified, right? You can do that. And this is basically what the framing effect is all about, right? Frame things
I'll
in.
tell a few things here, okay?
Hmm.
So guys, actually, for everyone in the call, as soon as you start working on projects, you would have to interact with a lot of people, okay? So while you are just interacting within your team, it's not a big deal, okay, friends, you're working, even if you make, let's say, even if you don't frame your words properly with your colleagues, it is still okay because you have become a kind of friend. They will understand you because they are spending too much time with yourself. But what I realized at project level is, okay, in the current times, people directly interact with clients. Okay, and clients are कि भाई जहाँ से पैसा आ रहा है, and you have to maybe give demos to them, discuss with them all throughout the day. For example, in my project, we have European clients, and even juniors of my team are continuously in chat with those clients. And many a times, what I realized is people don't think very deeper before how they are typing their messages to them. Okay, because maybe at their own talking level they are just typing it the way it is, but it goes like pretty rude at times. They did not mean it to rude, but the words are just framed like this. Okay, the client, actually this happened to me a few years ago. Client said, hey, why is this team member talking so rude to us? Okay, then I was like, checked his messages. He did not mean it, but the way he used his words, it was feeling dominating, bossy, the kind of humbleness was missing in the statements. Hey, could you please do it? It was like, do it like this. Like, एक तरीका होता है, right? People get
Hmm.
affected, and in our culture we can understand because we know they are good. But when you're talking to these clients, it really escalated to me. कि भाई, why is this person talking like this? And then I have to correct that. कि भाई, next time onwards, थोड़ा soft spoken होना is very important. You have to frame your words in a manner from how they are receiving it. Okay? And I think this is really very important because career drops might happen. If this keeps happening again and again, they might say, hey, we don't want to work with this person, move him out of the project. Clients can say that because nobody likes disrespect, man, and their clients. So I think this framing wala applies on your day-to-day job also. Be careful of what you're talking to other people. How you present is very important because it will add otherwise career problems for you. Promotion tak bhi impact hota hai if you are not very carefully choosing your words when you talk to some people. Okay, so that's a very important one. You might not mean it, but your words are sounding different. So dhoom. Okay, so that's careful. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay,
But yeah,
and that is one aspect.
hmm. I think everything that we say is very easily subjected to be misinterpreted. That
Yeah,
can
yeah,
always happen, right?
yes.
So I like to say it this way, that everything that we say is bound to be misinterpreted almost always. So there is no substitute to having an honest conversation. So if you are kind of feeling this way about someone else, it's good, in fact, the example that you gave, that your client actually escalated it to you and
Mm,
you resolved it. If it would have been someone who would simply just take it to his own ego and say that, okay, I'm simply not going to work with this person because he or she is a rude person, while this person was not a rude person.
yeah.
It's just that you had to, the way that the person was framing their sentences were interpreted as rude, right?
Mm,
So no substitute to having an honest conversation, right?
mm.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. Yeah, very true, very true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I have mentioned always, even you were talking about perspective, right? Your own perspective can be your prison or your power. So the way you see
Mm,
things, how expansive you feel about life in general, how much you understand about life, about people, etc. It can be your prison and it can also be your power, right? If you try to expand your horizons, if you try to look at things from different perspectives always, you can always again expand whatever areas you can have an impact in, right? And इसीलिए when I talk about our minds, when I talk about self awareness, this is something which is very key, because for almost all of us, our core ideas about whatever we think about life, whatever we think about other people, are underneath our conscious attention. सब कुछ background में चल रहा होता है. This is how people are, this is how things are, this is how a job is supposed to be done, this is how work is supposed to be done. Almost all of that goes on underneath our conscious attention, in the sense that we don't even think about it too much. सब कुछ background में चल रहा होता है. And unless we bring it to our conscious attention, we are like, अब यहाँ पे मैंने mention किया, I don't know if you guys know about the parable of the elephant and the six blind men. I can talk about it very quickly. बहुत छोटी सी एक story है which is part of a lot of Hindu Buddhist scriptures, कि there were once six blind men who had never seen an elephant, but उनको elephant के पास जाके खड़ा किया गया. तो one of them was touching a foot, one of them was touching a tail, one of them was touching a feet, was touching a leg, one of them was touching a trunk. So सबके अलग अलग ideas थे. Everyone was saying, one of them who was touching the trunk was saying this is a very hard animal, who was touching the tail was saying this is a very soft animal, this is almost a rope, ये तो animal ही नहीं है. One of them who was touching the core was saying this is like a wall, बहुत ही बड़ा giant, it's a buffalo. So all of them had different ideas about what an elephant is. All of them were seeing things from their own perspective, but उनको पता नहीं चल रहा था कि actually में elephant है क्या, right? And because they were blind, they had no way around it. वो देख ही नहीं सकते थे. But for us, we are not blind, right? हम देख सकते हैं चीजें. But even then, everything goes on underneath our conscious attention, and we kind of act like blind people, right? So bringing your own thoughts into your conscious attention helps to kind of change it, even if you can. But at least
mhm.
you become aware of, okay, this is why I'm thinking this way, this is how I really think, and maybe I can also improve upon it. And again, building on professional careers, this can also help you understand why people act the way they do in your professional environments, in their meetings, in their day-to-day interactions with people. This is why people act the way they do. Almost सबका सब कुछ conscious attention के नीचे चल रहा होता है. Stories बनी हुई हैं दिमाग में. This is how people are. This is how things are, and we keep on acting that way, right? Happens to me, happens to you, happens to all of us. It's fruitful to understand all of that, right?
There is one important key point here, like he said, it's all happening at your subconscious level. Unknowingly, internally, your personality has become something, and you just start looking at the world like that, acting like that, behaving like that. So one key thing which he said, whenever a thought is coming in your conscious brain, if you can just check on that actively, okay, is it empowering, disempowering? I came across this technique somewhere. Observe every thought that runs through your mind and then allow only powerful thoughts to sink inside your subconscious and remove all the other thoughts. Actively monitor how you're thinking, and this statement, your perspective can be your prison or your power. So ek ek karke, you have to eliminate all your disempowering thoughts. Anytime you feel कि अरे I'm a loser, life is painful, life is so hard, ये सारे thoughts को from your conscious brain itself you have to eliminate it, and inside your mind only powerful thoughts should be planted. So thoda sa I think we can all create that kind of a powerful attitude by not allowing it to become into a prison. Otherwise, I think there are people in this call also, while I was having like chatting one-on-ones with them, there are people like some of them really struggling. Like I feel like quitting. I feel like everything is so much painful. I have been trying and I feel like giving up. I don't feel like putting efforts anymore. Okay, there are people of all these states. It is because they allowed that pain so much into their own mind that now they are trapped there. So clean karna pade. Right? You have to change your perspective, attitude, behavior. You have to reactivate your inner self back again. Here, life mein there is hope, and I can fix things, and just remove all these negative things from you. So I think we are just getting into very core of how we think, operate, and behave. And thoda to karna padega, right? It's a beautiful life, but we are looking at it from a perspective ki it's hell and it's painful, and that's really sad. Your perspective badalna is very important. Yeah.
Yeah. What you touched upon, Tausif, is actually fundamental meditation 101. Observing your own thoughts, observing the flow of your own thoughts. And almost in every single one-on-one session that I take with people, this is a constant worry that people have, that there are a lot of negative thoughts. And somehow we want कि यार negative thoughts आने बंद हो जाए, right? I should not have the anxiety of talking to people. I should not have the depression of thinking about my past, etc., etc. And we want those negative thoughts to not even appear. And what you said, Tausif, is exactly how to actually do that. You see, सदगुरु से लेके संदीप महेश्वरी तक, ओशो तक, किसी की भी बात कर लो, no one can guarantee what will be the next thought that appears in their mind, right? But what you can do is choose which thoughts you act on, right? And slowly but surely, this is simply how our minds work. This is simply how our bodies work. If you're not focusing on certain things, those things stop appearing in your consciousness slowly, right? It happens slowly. So if there is a depressing story going on in your mind and you keep yourself focused on it, if you keep thinking about it over and over again, and if you give it so much weight, that is the only thing that will come into your mind throughout the day, right? While if a very simple shift in perspective happens, that I'm feeling sad, what I'll rather do is maybe go for a quick jog, maybe take a little deep sleep rest, maybe I'll go to the gym, right? You consciously choose कि उस thought पे act नहीं करना, negative thought पे, and I'll rather choose something positive. And slowly but surely you'll realize that those thoughts, they appear lesser in your consciousness, and धीरे धीरे करके maybe even disappear at some point, right? That is the only way to really do it. And we all want to do it. At some level, we all want that we do not get all these negative thoughts in our minds, but आते हैं, सबको आते हैं. It's human to feel negative, right? It's human to feel positive and also negative. But again, what matters is what you choose to act on, right? Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
I think that's I will open it up to conversations now. If you guys have any questions for me, if you want to talk about deeper into anything that we talked about here, batao.
Okay.
All open.
Okay. You can actually turn off your screen so we can see some faces.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so Shravan, Balram, Mandu, हाँ, थोड़ा आज ऊपर से भी गया है, नीचे से, हाँ, इधर उधर से. So yeah, देखो, if guys anybody having any specific things to discuss, because I think few major topics about we feel low at times, we feel negative at times in the lives. Okay, so if anybody has any kind of concern, like mental battle going through right now, because he's saying कि he thinks about from philosophical angles, he's doing one-on-ones with people. तो अगर किसी के life पे, if anybody is facing a lot of traumatic or problematic situation, okay, maybe just put it in chat, so maybe Chetan can spend next 5-10 minutes in trying to really brush up. Okay, so problems are there with everybody. That's because that's, if you are alive, you have problems. You should be happy कि you have problem. That means you are alive. Otherwise, you will be dead. So if
That's a good
anyone
way to say it.
struggling too much, yeah, कुछ है तो just put it in the chat. Let's see.
And by the way, if you guys want to discuss any of these issues one on one with me, because I can understand there are, maybe you consider ki you don't want to publicly talk, so you can always ping me one on one also.
Yeah.
Tosif will let you know how to get in touch with me, and I'll be more than happy to help out.
Yeah. So all his sources like websites and all, I'll be sharing up in the WhatsApp group. And even this is being live streamed on YouTube. It will be available at description. So just feel free. So he's trying to really be supportive to people. So अगर कुछ चल रहा है life में, lot of ups and downs. And I personally feel one thing कि, and this is a personal suggestion as a friend or whoever, okay, if you are going through some really struggling situations in your life, okay, not just now but in the past or future, maybe kabhi, so don't keep that pain only to yourself. Okay, I think you should discuss it with somebody, and you will feel a bit very much lighter in that. But don't pile up so much in your own heart and your mind, yaar, and then draw wrong conclusions ki everything is waste, I should not do anything. Because such things, actually, if you pile up so much of pain inside na, फिर वो depression होता है, and a lot of health consequences happens because of that. Okay, so I think thoda sa just speak out to people. I think there are a few questions. Okay, so first one actually, okay, so it is from Vamshi.
Hmm.
Second, it is from Vamshi. Question is how to avoid the situation which disturbs our concentration. Okay, like family, friends, relationships. So whenever those
Hmm.
things happen in the life, concentration just moves away from the goal and all that. So
Yeah.
yeah, something about that. Yeah, that's a very wise one actually.
Hmm.
Mm.
See, for me personally, what I recommend to people is that I think Tosif would have also talked to you guys about this. You should prioritize what you really, really want to do and try to accomplish it despite of everything else. Right? As simple as that. मतलब ये चीजें तो करनी ही है. If your main goal right now is, let's say, to lose weight, no matter what happens, I will go to the gym. Right? Just have that thought in your mind, एंड नो मैटर व्हाट द सिचुएशन इज, कुछ भी हो, ये तो करना ही है पूरे दिन में, चाहे मैं और कुछ भी ना करूं. राइट? इफ यू हैव योर प्रायोरिटीज सॉर्टेड इन दैट मैनर, आई एम प्रीटी श्योर इवन इफ फ्रेंड्स, फैमिली, एवरीथिंग हैपेंस, देखो देयर कुड बी सम एक्सट्रीम सिचुएशंस व्हेन यू कांट जस्ट डू एनीथिंग, यू कांट हेल्प इट, लाइक वी आर ऑल ह्यूमन, ये होता है. बट इफ यू हैव योर प्रायोरिटीज सॉर्टेड, there will be situations when your concentration is disrupted, but you know this is something I have to do despite of all of it, not because of it. Right? Not because of my situation is allowing, only then I'll do it. Do it despite of your situations. Have your priorities sorted in that manner. Right?
Mm.
And that's pretty much it. It's as simple as that. Just have your priorities sorted. And अगर ऐसा कुछ होता है, when there's an extreme situation, you know, you can't do anything, at least have your list कि यार ये तो मुझे फिर भी करना ही है. Right? I'll at least go for a walk. I'll at least go for a damn walk. And ये तो मैं करूंगा ही करूंगा. Right?
Mm.
बस that's pretty
Okay.
much it. Right?
It's very nice.
Hmm.
Okay, there is one question. Okay, so, it's from Chandra Sai Krishna. Okay,
Hmm.
interesting. As age increases, does the performance and learning curve become down, like learning growth? So
Wow.
along with age, does it come down? Hmm.
That's amazing, you know. A very beautiful question, because this is something I touch upon in the core of, in fact, the next newsletter I'm about to share. See, this definitely happens. हम सब ने अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ ही शायद देखा हो कि they tend to become very set in their own ways, right? And it happens that even if you kind of are able to correct them somewhere, they maybe don't even want to listen where they're wrong, right? And this happens with age. This happens with all of us. And why this happens is primarily because as we progress in our lives, our ego our sense of self attaches itself to all of these different ideas, right? All of these different beliefs. बहुत छोटा सा अगर एग्जांपल लो कि let's say you are someone who supports Congress, right, versus someone who supports BJP. If you are a 14-year-old kid, you might not be too attached to that idea. But take it 20, 30, 40 years down the line, you're 54 now, and you have been supporting BJP or supporting Congress for so long, it becomes a part of your identity. And it becomes that much more difficult to let go of that idea, right? So it definitely does happen that your quality, your willingness to learn more things, to understand that you are wrong somewhere, that you can be corrected somewhere, it tends to decrease with age, right? So you have to be careful of that. You have to be careful of that. And this is, like I talk about growing up 101, understanding how you are thinking. This is exactly why it's important while you are growing up, to start to
Mhm.
see how you are thinking, why you are thinking it, what you are thinking. Because if you don't, all of the different things that go on in your life cement themselves as part of your identity, and it becomes that much more difficult to let go, right? So yes, I
So
definitely resonate with it.
yeah, the
Mm.
important takeaway is right now you are in your 20s of your life, 30s in your life. So this time itself, make the right decisions. Ki what you want to think, what you want to believe, how you want to act, what is your philosophy about life, about existence. फिर किस direction में लेके, because these things will wire more. So doesn't matter what were there for the past 20 years because you were a child and you were grasping. Right now you have a logical thinking brain. Make wise choices, because if you allow failures and disappointments of life to become your core identity right now, future mein jaake these things will wire more into your lifestyle habits and all. फिर changing that, देखो, it's possible to change, but it is a lot of work to do that, and many of them will not even try doing that. So make wise choices so your identity becomes really rock solid. But it's possible to change, but it takes a lot of time, efforts, and everything.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Always keep yourself open to change. That's definitely one, right? I mean, no
Hmm.
matter how much you think you understand about life, you have
Hmm.
to keep yourself open to also understanding that you might be wrong somewhere,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, okay. ठीक है, we will take a few more questions, Chetan. You have some time, maybe five,
Yeah,
ten
yeah.
minutes.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. ठीक है. So देखो, there is another question. Actually, somebody said कि don't use my name. So I'll keep now things all like somebody करके. Okay.
Yeah.
ठीक है. So somebody says, okay. So Mr. Somebody says, how to get out of any addiction or same circle of thoughts going on in the mind.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's an interesting one. See, it definitely
Valid,
is
valid.
subjective.
Hmm.
It's definitely subjective. I mean, I've had clients who were very depressed about what had happened in their childhood back in the day. Some of them depressed about just a recent relationship breakup that they had, right? So it depends on the kind of situation you're talking about. But ये सबके साथ होता है कि there is a circle of thoughts which always keep appearing into our consciousness and they disturb us, right? So for me personally, see, if we were in a one-on-one session and we would have delved much more deeper into the specific thoughts that you are talking about, but for a general advice, I would say that try to focus much more on what you can do in the present moment about it, right? That's all. Don't focus too much about why this happened, why am I thinking this way, why did this happen with me, what did I do to deserve all of this. All of these thoughts will only keep you more and more involved in the circle. More than that, try to shift your perspective to seeing what you have to do in the present moment now to get out of this, right?
Hmm.
And for a lot of us, it's something as simple as getting yourself busy, right? If you are addicted to the circle of thoughts surrounding, let's say, your breakup, you had a recent breakup and it was a tough one. Of course, all breakups are tough, but if you had an especially tough breakup, it's very hard to overcome those circle of thoughts. So उस time पे what is very fundamental to what you should start doing is start to look at other things, start to look at maybe a new hobby to pick up, maybe new friends to go out with, maybe pick up a
Create
fitness
your mind.
activity, something of that sort,
Hmm.
right? So get yourself busy with other things, right? And like I mentioned before, do that despite of all of these thoughts, right? Don't do that because of the situation of your life allowing you to do it. वो तो सब कर लेते हैं, right? But what will define you in these situations is, despite all of these thoughts, you are focusing on doing what is better for you. and that will help break the addiction, right?
Okay, very wise, very wise. Okay, यहाँ पे एक Chetan, I think this is also a bit serious and concerning. Okay,
Hmm.
somebody says, and we can relate, right? So much of things are going on in people's life. There is this another question, कि due to family matter issue, okay,
Hmm.
I am at the bottom of my career, and
Hmm.
I am 32 years old. Okay,
Hmm.
what should I do? Everything I have lost. अभी पता नहीं to what level of depth is happening, but something has really
Yeah.
gone wrong in family and career में still at the beginning stage पे चल रहा है, 32 age का बंदा
Yeah.
and feeling like lost. Yeah, what
Hmm.
would be
Hmm.
your words here? Hmm.
I think you are already in the right place. You are meeting with someone who's motivating you to succeed in your career. So I think you're already doing what is supposed to be done, right? In the sense that you're taking an action. And only if you keep doing that, it'll happen for you too, right? That's all I would say generally. It can happen that for a lot of us, if I share my story a bit, even my family history was not conducive to the situation I'm in right now. We were in a lot of financial trouble. So if I were to stay in that mindset ki yaar, because I was in this situation, I was not able to succeed, I simply will not succeed, right? To succeed, actually, like I mentioned before, whatever happened, whatever brought you to 24th March 2023 has already happened, right? But what will happen from here depends on you, not 100%, but it definitely depends on the choices you will take now. And whoever this person is already taking this choice to succeed in the career, right? Matlab, he's not just sitting back and thinking about mere ko kya karna hai. You're already in the right place, you're already talking to people who can help you succeed. So keep on doing that, and I think things will start to look up after some time. Because
Hmm.
see, in general, something I think which should be taught to all kids, in fact, in schools, is that life goes about in the form of a sine curve. All of us have seen sine curves in our schools, I hope. There are crests, there are troughs, right? ऊपर नीचे सबके साथ होता है, एंड दिस इज अ फंडामेंटल रियलिटी ऑफ लाइफ जो सबको समझनी चाहिए कि इट हैपेंस दैट you will have a positive curve, but it will not always be up. You will definitely come down. Happened with Virat Kohli, for heaven's sake, right? 3 साल तक कुछ भी नहीं रन बनाए विराट कोहली, सचिन के साथ. Happens with everyone. But when you're all the way down, you have to remember that you will come up, right? अगर आप नीचे ही जाते रहे and that mindset shift happens कि नहीं अब तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता, शायद कुछ हो ही ना. But if you keep working for it, definitely life takes you up. It happens for all of us, right? So keep at it, man. Whoever asked this
Okay,
question,
okay.
keep at it. I think you're at the right place and things will start to look up.
Okay, okay. ठीक है. So guys, there are final 2-3 questions. So this is the last where we will stop after these 2-3 questions. Okay, so this is the last.
Sure.
Okay, somebody says ki, okay, can you just suggest Gita for every broken heart? Okay.
Gita
So
for every
I
broken heart.
नहीं
Okay.
नहीं 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 नहीं, it's like I think when people are saying कि life में there is so much pain, so they are suggesting कि भाई गीता पढ़ लो, and
Hmm.
I'll say कि रमजान चल रहा है, कुरान भी पढ़ लो.
Hmm.
So all these
Hmm.
holy books will really give a lot of peace, and थोड़ा soul satisfaction might already come out. ठीक है,
Hmm.
so cling to these kind of things which will really add value. ठीक है. Now on top of it, there are two last questions. Okay, कि somebody says, is it okay to be confused to some extent, okay, while making a decision? Okay, and further it says how to avoid overthinking while it keeps coming in the mind. So pehla
Hmm.
question lete, is it okay to be confused to some extent while making a decision?
Yes, of course. Why not? We're all human beings, yeah. Matlab, even if you ask Chat GPT will not know the exact answer to everything, right? Factual चीजों के answer पता होते हैं. Even something like what is the year today? This is a factual answer and आपको पता होगा. But what to do ahead in life? Should I be a software engineer at this age, or should I start to look at something like I don't know, maybe I go into the banking sector or whatever. Of course it's okay to be confused, right? And all you have to do is see in the present moment what you can act on. Just focus on that, act on it, and don't focus too much on the end result, right? Kyunki see, again, if I talk about Bhagavad Gita, आपने पिछले क्वेश्चन के हिसाब से पूछा, भगवत गीता की एक वेरी सेंट्रल मैसेज इज कर्म कर फल की चिंता मत कर, right? Which means do your deed, don't stress about the end result. Does not mean don't think about the end result. They mean don't stress about the end result, क्योंकि वो end result आपके कंट्रोल में नहीं होता, right? there's so many energies, so many things happening around in your life कि आप end result का भी guarantee नहीं कर सकते, right? So it's okay to be confused because you do not know what the end result would be, but you should be focused on an end result. सोचो कि मेरे को क्या करना है, उस तरीके से what is the step you have to take at this moment and just act on it. And उसके बाद end result आएगा नहीं आएगा, it depends. One of the factors is what you do, but 100 other factors is what the situation is, what the market economy is, etc., etc. है ना? So you can't
Mm.
control the end result. So it's okay to be confused, but take a step. And when you take a step, go into it. Just go into it, right?
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, देखो, I'll add one thing here. Okay, so to the person, like in my IT career, it's always about making decisions. Right? Project me, if this happens, then what to do? That happens, then what to do? And you will never be able to make that perfect decision. Okay, that's always the case. No decision is a perfect decision. What I do, and there are a lot of times, the more you make decisions, you will get better at that. Okay?
Exactly.
So this
Yeah.
confusion is maybe you have not tried it that much. So like mind is like that. So how I do it is you have to just keep all the options in front of you. Okay? And let there be all the confusion ki kya kare, ye kare, wo kare, but keep the options in front of you, not in the mind. Ki, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have these 4 possibilities now. And then you have to just make a decision. What is the best thing that you can do right now? And just rely on your analysis plus gut. Okay. And you have to break that confusion by picking one. It might be the wrong one, that is still fine. But you need to pick one which you feel ke ho sakta hai, right? It might be completely wrong, that's okay. But make a decision ki I'll do this based upon your gut feeling, your friends talking, your analysis, but pick something. And even if it is wrong, try to live with it for some time. And then observe okay, if you have picked a wrong one, there is no, like, it's never late to change. Don't carry your ego along with it. Or I made one decision, I have to live with it forever. It's never like that. Be okay and flexible to change your decision. Okay, 2 महीने तक देखो, 1 महीने तक देखो. If you have made a bad one, then you again reassess the situation and try to improve on that. But make a decision, continue with it. If it is wrong, be flexible to change it. You have an 80 years old life. ठीक है, 80 साल की लाइफ है. It's not going to end tomorrow. So enjoy even failures and mistakes that you do. That's part of life. ठीक है. And chalo, one last question. Okay, so somebody says, Chetan, ki it's a very amazing session, getting a lot of value out of it. Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
thank you for sharing. One last question here, ki how to be patient in life? How to be patient in life? Chalo, dekhte hain.
How to be patient. See, I think to be patient, it's a matter of perspective. You have to understand that life happens slowly. You have to understand that sometimes things may happen at the click of a button, but good things or things that are worth it always take time, right? And there is no silver bullet to it. It's just a matter of perspective. You have to understand that good things take time and just keep at it. That's pretty much it, right? There is no I can't give you a paracetamol like a tablet ki ye kha lo and now you'll be patient. That's never going to happen. Whoever is selling you ki come into my course and I'll make you a patient person, no one can do that for you. Only you can do that for yourself, right? You can change your perspective and start to understand that it's not just philosophy. Life happens slowly. Good things take time. Whatever is worth it will always take time, right? जैसे I don't know किसका quote है ये, but there's a very famous quote which says, I worked 20 hours I worked 20 years, I don't know, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week to become an overnight success. कि लोगों को एंड में दिखता है कि I was an overnight success, but all the 20 years that went into it, all the different hard work and the sacrifices that went into it, वो दिखता ही नहीं है, right? So we have to be patient and धीरे धीरे it's a matter of perspective. You start to understand as life happens कि it takes time, and especially the good things, they take time, right?
Okay. So guys, that was Mr. Chetan Narang. Okay. So amazing talk, touching the core things. Look, already in the chat, I am pasting you the links about his social access like YouTube, website, podcast that he's doing. And it's all available free, the podcast and everything. So you can go through that, listen it to the thought process. So precisely when you're feeling low in your life, you have to really understand it better, and for that really try to connect more with people who are having this kind of deep thought process. It will help you to overcome nicely. Okay. And chalo, it's the final day, so I'll share you the final attendance link for the day. And whoever has completed 90% of the attendance, I will be sharing them some special reward. So I'll share it over this weekend to all the individual members who completed 9 and 10. Yes, so sharing you the attendance. The code for today is 8888, and here is the final last day. Okay. And as Lightly said, Monday ko we will again connect back. It is going to be a hardcore Q&A session on job hunting. Okay. Fresher ho gaya hai, I have gap with my experience, not getting internship, should I get internship, how to put project, how to explain project, I have not done any projects but still can I place it, what company expects from all these things. So strategically, step by step, we will break down. Even for, let's say, if you have like 4 years of gap, then how should be your strategy? Okay, 2 years walo ka kya hai, immediate current walo ka kya hai, and how the company will pursue. And I think if you can plan your next 3 months like that, your chances will really improve. Okay. So I think all the job seekers precisely come tomorrow, and I think it will be Monday, not tomorrow, Monday. Okay. Fine. Okay. And mark your attendance, everyone. Mark your attendance. And it was wonderful session coming from Chetan. Thanks, Chetan, for making time for the group. And really very insightful, nicely going in all the topics. And I think the Q&As were very pinpointed. We discussed, so that shows the depth you have about the concept and the right approach towards these problems. Okay.
Thank you, Tausif. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that. I'll make sure I share the slides with you. I'll make sure I share. In fact, you have already shared all the links with from my side.
I'll share it in WhatsApp and other places.
Yeah. So if any of you want to get in touch with me, you already have all the links. There are one-on-one sessions. There's the podcast. There's the YouTube channel. There's also the newsletter. So I can be reached out via a lot of different mechanisms, and you can consume my content through all of these different mechanisms. So I look forward to seeing more of you guys also in the future.
Okay. ठीक है, चलो बलराम, put a beautiful smile on your face. बलराम, श्रवण, मन, तो यही 3 बंदे ही दिखते हैं. ठीक है. So thank you all for this session. It was a 3-week program. Completed it pretty nicely. We'll do one thing on Monday, and then let's gear up for 3rd April, where we'll install more of this thing into our lifestyle. Okay. So chalo, thanks Sairaj and everybody. Thank you all, and thank you Chetan once again for the session. Thank you everybody.
Thank you,
Take care.
Thank you guys.
Have
Bye.
a nice day, team. Take care.
Bye.
Have a nice
Bye.
weekend. Thank you.